God, shut up, Joel. Welcome, everyone, to the weekly poll.
Every goddamn time with this.
I'm not even going to lie. I'll finally reveal the secret. I'm sitting here with the button on local recording, waiting for you to start talking.
Why am I not surprised? Why do I feel when we're all together doing our big thing in New York, you're going to find the perfect time to cut me off when the panel starts?
That's what I do. The reason we haven't started is you've been quiet for the last 5 minutes. I've been sitting here waiting.
Wow, that is dedication to a bit.
But it has to be natural.
Unless he tells me to shut up.
Right, I can't just be like, Joel, talk now. It has to be natural.
Let's get into the podcast. Let's do it.
All right, guys, for those of you joining us for the first time, I am one of your hosts, Comic Storian. You can find me on YouTube giving you dramatically read comic books. We are the Weekly Poll. We are a pop culture podcast, mostly talking about comic book related stuff, but we do talk about video games, movies, and other stuff like that. Our classic cast is here today. So it's me, Sal from ComicPOP, where they do multiple discussions on your favorite comic books, reviews, and that kind of a thing. We have Rob from Comics Explained. I honestly have no idea what Rob does anymore, but I think he explains comics.
Yeah, he's still explaining, I think.
I talk about comics every once in a while.
Yeah. And we also have Kate to Joel, where you can find many reviews of your favorite TV shows, comic books, and the occasional cooking show. Yeah. We need to start a special like Kickstarter or giveaway or fund me or something where we just send Joel funny superhero-related foods to eat.
Good idea. That's fine. Someone actually sent me a DC-themed cookbook, actually, that I opened up, so that's already kind of happened.
Well, there you go.
Nice.
There you go. So today we do have slim pickings on our topic, so we're probably going to quickly divert this into more of a Q&A, BS session. But let's go ahead and start at the top of the list that was gathered for us today, so we can go through them. Starting with Deathstroke. You've got it listed as for the next Batman movie with a question mark, but I don't even know if that's what we saw.
Just test footage of Deathstroke. I like what I saw.
It was just test footage of him walking in front of the Batmobile. I'm assuming that was test footage to try out the costume because they're putting him into the movie, but there's literally no confirmation on that.
He's going to be showing up in the DC universe at some point, either in Justice League or Batman. He's coming. That boy Deathstroke is coming.
Well, that raises a good question. Who's the villain going to be for the Batman movie? Is it going to be the Joker?
I kind of feel like it needs to be at this point, that the Joker has to be the villain for the Batman movie.
No, that's like saying that Magneto needs to be the villain in an X-Men movie. It's been done to death. Let's do something
So you're thinking
else.
Deathstroke? I mean, for the record, guys, Ben Affleck, unless I missed something, posted that, which everyone assumed was Batman footage. But that's not, for all you know, he was popping up. I was like, for all you know, he was popping up on a cameo on another movie again, and it's just in the DCU.
Yeah,
I mean, all I'm saying is this, man. Like we've had Jared Leto Joker, we've had Jack Nicholson Joker, we've had Heath Ledger Joker, we've had Mark Hamill playing the animated Joker, we've had Cesar Romero Joker. Like I want to see Deathstroke, man. I want to see just a crazy ass guy, who's like, you know what? I'm basically Batman's equal in fighting. Plus, I'm like the Punisher with guns. Let's see what happens if we put the two of them in a movie. I want to see that. Plus, I love Slade Wilson from Arrow.
Deathstroke was always, kind of designed to be a dark Batman. He even had his own Alfred for a little bit, Wintergreen, who is back in the comics. And in the comics, they're pushing Deathstroke to be more of a villain now, where before he was an anti-hero. Yeah. So the timing makes sense that they would want to put him in something and make him be a bad guy again.
I mean, who wanted to play Deathstroke in the Arrow show?
Fucking Bennett. Beef up guy, yeah.
I want to see him play Deathstroke in the movie.
I thought that's what it was at first. When I first saw the footage, I didn't see where it came from or what it was. I thought it was just test footage from either Injustice 2 or it was the Arrow, because the costume was so close to Arrow. And I'm like, is this like footage of him coming back? And then I saw it came from Ben Affleck, and I'm like, well, he's not on the Arrow set.
Right. Ben Affleck is in the Arrow set.
The costume looks pretty accurate. The only thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, because we're seeing more and more heroes actually get the white slits. He's got like the eye patch, of course, but he's also got like his one eye showing, because you need to emote and you need to kind of show your actor's face.
Right. Bye, Rob. Yeah. Rob's chair is sad.
But what a comfy chair it is, though.
It does look comfy, but it doesn't beat my DX Racer, not a sponsor.
But if I say their name enough, maybe they'll give me some money.
Yeah, exactly. From what I've been told, that if I just keep saying DX Racer chairs, eventually they'll pay me $100 per saying.
What's that name again, Benny? I forgot it.
Oh, it's DX
My
Racer.
microphone was turned off, damn it.
And don't forget, guys, I also had a book that came out. You can go check it out, The Rise of Comic Book Movies. And while you're there, why don't you check the related search, Finding the Definitive History of Superman by Rob.
Nope, it's called
He forgot
Behind the Cape, Breaking Down the World, or the World's First Superhero Explained. We could not use Superman in the title, which I should have thought about that before I chose that as a topic. Because it's now it's like, hey guys, if you happen to be in Barnes & Noble and you see a book that looks kind of like a superhero cover, you should buy that.
Yeah.
The
Deathstroke thing is funny too, because I heard so many people with the silliest arguments being like, yeah, Deathstroke is a great Batman villain, and everyone being like, nah man, he's a Green Arrow villain. I'm like, you're all wrong, he's a Teen Titans villain.
He's a Teen Titans villain, yeah.
Related.
Which is funny little like production note. The reason why in the Teen Titans TV show he was called Slade is the company felt Deathstroke was too dark.
Yeah, well, it was a children's cartoon show. They're not gonna have a character whose name is Death in his name.
The Terminator.
Hey, children.
So they just called him Slade Wilson.
Hilariously, though, they made him Slade, which is his actual name.
Yeah.
It'd be like if they made Joker is too evocative of clowns. We'll call him Jack because that's what they've called him before.
Yeah.
No, it'd be like Batman walking around being like, today just call me Bruce.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne? No, I'm not Bruce Wayne. Just Bruce.
Yeah, studies have statistically shown that bats are scary, so you'll be the Dark Knight character known as Bruce.
Should we call you Mr. Wilson? No, Mr. Wilson was my father. Just call me Slade.
I don't know, man. Don't put it past people. Did you guys see that post? NBC was like, hey, we really want the idea of The Walking Dead, but we don't want zombies. We want the main characters to solve like a zombie crime of the week. That was NBC's pitch for The Walking Dead TV show.
Solid
That
pitch.
sounds about right.
Could you imagine that? Yeah. Okay, well, these zombies ate someone.
Yeah, worse.
Wow!
See, here's the deal. Here's why I love the idea of Slade Wilson. One, he's got stealth, he's got guile, but when it comes down to it, he's like, you know what? Let's just blow some shit up. And that's why I like Slade Wilson, because he could come at Batman from any angle. Slade Wilson in a DC movie seems like it seems like they would portray him how Bane should have been, because Bane showed up and was like, hey, I know your identity, and it's only taken me like 3 months or 6 months or however long. Let's break your back and let's make John Paul Valley be you. So it was like, I want to see Slade Wilson be what Bane should have been.
I really hope, because Deathstroke is an assassin, he is at least being hired by another Batman villain. Because if so, that just feels wrong. Where it's like, hey, it's a new Batman movie starring a non-traditional Batman villain. Because we had no pitches for Mr. Freeze or the Riddler or Man-Bat or anyone else. We're just going to start pulling villains now because we think Batman could fight him really good.
Yeah. That's it. That's just that we just want to see these two fight.
Now, how is Batman going to murder him, I wonder? Will Superman come in and break his neck, or will Batman just shoot him to death?
I don't think he's going to kill anybody. Every DC movie tries to learn from the last DC movie, and by learn, I mean passive aggressively make changes in the face of our criticisms. So I feel like Batman will have gone through this experience of losing Superman and trying to build himself up into an ideal. He's be the leader of the Justice League. He's making friends. Mm-hmm. He's going out there. He's sharing his identity with these people. I think he's gonna also be like, I had it right 20 years ago when I started. I had it right when I wasn't killing people in the beginning. I'm not gonna kill people again.
So he's just going to cripple them, is what you're saying?
Yeah, he'll just wreck them. The big bad.
Well, see, here's the deal. I'm like most anybody else, I'd love to see Deathstroke be a Teen Titans villain, because it'd make a great dichotomy. It's like, hey, we're like the sidekicks of popular superheroes, and we band together, and we're going to be our own thing. That'd be cool. The problem is, with Warner Brothers' hands in the cookie jar, Teen Titans would be goofy at best. At worst, it would just be downright terrible. And so to have, to me, if they were to introduce Deathstroke as a villain in a Teen Titans movie, assuming that Warner Brothers had their hands in the project, it would be a waste. It'd be a huge waste of a great villain. So I want to see him in a movie that's being written and directed, basically controlled entirely by Ben Affleck, because he's got enough clout to tell Warner Brothers, keep your hands off my project, and then have Deathstroke appear in there, because then we'd get a good Deathstroke. And then you could turn around and throw him in Teen Titans, because you'd have an audience that's receptive to a hardcore,
you would need to set up
character.
A dozen sidekicks, though, which they're not going to do, because they're still afraid of Robin all these years later. Robin can show up, but maybe he has a hallucination, and maybe he's already been dead.
Yeah. Robin is dead.
I really, this leads to a different discussion because I really don't understand WB. They're so nervous to use their properties and their characters, and they don't want to do anything with it, you know. And and it's like, who is on top of this? Because it's not DC, and we know that DC's not making the final calls on these things. It's Warner Brothers, but it's like Warner Brothers doesn't know what they want to do with DC.
Oh yeah.
I don't think Warner Brothers knows what they have. Like, I think Warner Brothers looks at they look at Marvel movies and they're like, man, guys, these Marvel. I mean, they got Captain America and they got Iron Man. You got Batman and Superman. You have the two original superheroes that literally laid the foundation for everything that came after. You have the Trinity. You got Wonder Woman. Like you have. Let me tell you something, man. If anybody should be making the best comic book movies ever seen by the world, it should be DC because they have such huge legacies. Yeah.
Well, they have a toy box filled with pop culture icons.
Yeah, they've got the forerunners for all the superheroes.
They had it. They were making them. Like Batman '89, no one had ever seen a movie like that before. And before that, Superman, the original Superman with Chris Reeve by Dick Donner was like unbelievable. They all they did, by the way, with both those franchises, when they were like, we're gonna make a freaking Batman movie. We're gonna give the property to a money-making machine like Tim Burton, and all we're gonna do for the marketing is what they should have done with the marketing for the last 20 years, and that's logo. It's just a bat symbol. Like, they didn't even know if they should print the name Batman on the movie tickets because they weren't even sure what the hell the movie was. Just logo, because that's all you need. Superman, just S, and then you will believe a man can fly. That was all you needed. People were like, I'm in. Superman for real? Seeing a man fly around like Superman? I'm down. And that was all they needed, and they did it. And they did it with grace and dignity. Now they're like, I don't know, because they're embarrassed. They're ashamed of their properties. They don't want to have to do that. They want to make art house movies. They want to make action flicks. They want to make franchise builders. They want to tell stories about Riggs and Murtaugh, and they want to tell stories about like sad mute people who play the piano. They don't want to tell stories about like people who put on colorful costumes and punch bad guys forever. That's garbage. And plus, like, it's not a tried and true method. We had these properties forever. We had somebody just corrected me that Richard Donner did Superman. I fucking just said that.
Wow! Don't ever correct Sal.
What a nerve.
I called him Dick Donner. Dick is short for Superman, or is short for Richard, and you apparently. So anyway.
Wow.
And for the record, if you don't want to believe that one, you just look at any reference to Nightwing.
But you know, they had these properties for like 30 years, or I'm sorry, not 30, more than 30 years. And the closest thing we came to, you know, Warner Brothers has been treating these properties like rancid McDonald's Happy Meal commercials forever, to the point where you could have made a Superman Batman movie since 1972, and they never did. Closest thing we ever got was in Batman and Robin, when the worst Batman of all time said one line as a joke against Robin. We was like, this is why Superman works alone. Like, that's the closest thing we ever got to a Batman-Superman team-up movie in forever. It's just unbelievable these guys don't have any respect or care for their properties. It's just
also, too, you got to figure there's way too many cooks in the kitchen on this one. Jeff Johns gets a say, and the head of Warner Brothers Entertainment gets a say, and all the producers and all the other people. It's not a singular vision. It's a bunch of people with their own vision they're trying to push.
Well, you know what's funny about that? Because I have a feeling Jeff Johns is brought in and just added to the pile. Like, he'll fix it, but everyone's still here, Jeff. You know?
Exactly. No. Now Jeff has to, like... It's like being... Okay, so when I grew up, I went to a
Trevia
high
apologized,
school
by the way.
My town did not... I know, I saw it, thank you. In my town, it was too small to have a high school, so there's a neighboring town that was very affluent and had their own high school. And so we had a sending receiving contract where we sent our middle school kids to their high school, and they were so angry and miserable about it. By the way, it was like the difference of like 80 people. And as such, because we got representation in that school, someone from our town, we had one person that got to be on the town council committee for the school board. We had one representative out of 12 people. Jeff Johns is like, and I guess we'll also hire like this comic book guy, but only so that we can put in print we have a comic book guy. Because it used to be executives made decisions based solely on like their complete misunderstanding of the property. I mean, you've heard the Kevin Smith Superman story where he's just like to go see John Peters, and he was just like, you know why we're gonna make a good Superman movie?
Because we're from the streets.
What does that mean?
You were a hairdresser.
Yeah, Superman's not from the streets, man. Like, that doesn't mean... legitimately, the reason why Kevin Smith got the job is because Kevin Smith wrote a scene in Mallrats where they talk about Superman. That's the scene, you know, the darling chestnut in which he describes having sex with Lois Lane and blowing a hole in her back with all, you know, with the power of Superman. Like, because the executives at Warner Brothers were like, oh, you actually know who this character is. Well, then you probably should write it. Like, he doesn't, like, it just so happened he did, but that's the Hollywood mentality, or it had been for 30 years, of superhuman franchises, where they're just like, I don't know. Like, Sam Raimi was a fan of Spider-Man. It just so happened he was. They were like, I don't know, give it to the Evil Dead guy, and just let him do it. And he just happened to care enough. I mean, you read that James Cameron script, it ain't Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You know,
like Sandman.
But, like, accidentally, Sam Raimi happened to like the character, so, like, a lot of that stuff was infused into the origin and why people liked it so much.
It's just but like, the other thing you got to remember, too, though, is that what's his name? Tim Burton never read a Batman story.
It's true.
He is a liar. It's funny because, like, he has said on numerous occasions, like, the quote is, because I remember, like, Kevin Smith told the story about how he's like, the quote from Tim Burton is, I would...
That's a good quote.
You froze up right there.
You froze up, man.
Right at the quote.
I would never read a comic book,
No, you're fine. We can hear you.
Anyone who knows me knows I would never read a comic book, and I would especially never read anything written by Kevin Smith, which is hilarious. Mm-hmm. But the dude read Killing Joke because he said he used it as a basis for the foundation for Joker in, like, interviews during Batman '89. Like, back in the '80s, he referenced the seminal works of the time as influences for the comics. The dude read those books. Now, whether he used them as source material, I mean, look at Batman '89. No, he did not. But at least he's an orphaned millionaire who dresses like a bat and fights the Joker. When you have something as bedrock as the DC pantheon of superheroes, it's kind of really hard to screw it up, which is why we're all so flabbergasted with DC movies.
Yeah,
like, it's really hard to screw up Superman. He's a Noah story. It's written in our DNA what Superman's origin is. You screw it up, it's like you're doing it on purpose.
Yeah, I like that. It's hard to screw up Superman. That's why they've done it like the last 3 times in a row.
Well, it's because they keep giving it to the same person and same group of people who encourage that kind of screw up. Like,
yeah.
And by the way, there are people who are just so hungry, and that's what's so sad. The saddest part is that, like, it's not that, like, you're ruining Superman, because Superman is timeless. He'll be around long after we're gone, and those movies that aren't relevant will continue to be irrelevant forever. But, like, what's really sad is that people are so hungry for good superhero movies. They're so hungry for and desperate for good Superman movies. They're willing to say Man of Steel is great. They're willing to say, like, these movies are really good, and they're willing to apologize just because they want them to be good. They want to hang their hat on their favorite superhero. And they want to be able to say, look up in the sky, that literal character is my fucking superhero. And so they're willing to, like, shut their eyes and ignore the obvious and just
la 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 la.
Just plug their ears and sing their praises of things that are objectively bad. Yeah. It's like the prequel apologists back when we thought we were never going to get Star Wars again. What are you going to do? You're either going to bitch and moan about 3 terrible Star Wars movies, or you're going to start to look for good things about them and then pretend like they're actually better than they are. Like, I get it. It's standard Stockholm syndrome.
Just nothing is wrong with the Anakin Padme love story. I love that love story. I mean, you know, the writing was so organic.
You know,
I hate sand guys. I hate sand.
Like, hey, Anakin, I know you're like 12 and this chick's like 18. Like, get together, guys, and then go kill younglings, and then just, you know. Did you guys ever see that picture? It was like, I posted on Twitter. It was Obi-Wan talking to Padme, and he was like, Anakin's drunk. He's been killing younglings.
Killing younglings. Oh no!
All right. I mean,
Anakin scored an older woman.
I love how that Sal rant came out of Deathstroke's teaser stuff.
Yeah, Deathstroke's going to be. They're going to use Deathstroke. Well, that's the thing. Is my opinion of the Deathstroke footage, right? Is just this desperate, like, fundamental misunderstanding of their properties. They're like, look, we're doing Deathstroke, and the costume is pretty accurate. Yeah. Like, you don't even know who Deathstroke is. Like,
but he does good in the TV shows and the video games. Our marketing research says you like him.
I swear to God, those movie people don't even know the shows exist. Most of the people who make those movies, the people who are working on like Suicide Squad, Man of Steel 2, Batman vs Superman, Justice League, they're barely aware those shows are a thing. Like, yeah, I'm sorry. It frustrates me so much when these media empires can't just like get their heads out of their asses for 2 freaking seconds and give us something that's like not bad.
That's
okay,
Hollywood.
then what? Okay, then
hey,
fine.
you know what? Hold on. I'm going to take a moment here between the two thoughts. We had another subscriber. Ad Hamid has subscribed.
Nice, thank you.
We appreciate it, Ad Hominem.
Ad Hamid, we appreciate that.
Okay, so fine. So if the Man of Steel isn't good, if Batman vs Superman is bad, if everything except for Christopher Reeve and even like only Superman 1, because Superman 2 was okay, Superman 3 was bad, 4 was bad, and they never made a 5, I don't think. Did they ever make they never made a 5. Superman Returns was bad. Then what? Okay, then pitch me a Superman movie. Pitch me a good Superman movie.
I don't need to. Here's the thing, like, there are thousands of pitches. They're called comic books.
Okay, fine. Then give me a Superman comic to make a movie out of.
Wait. Actually, hold on. He doesn't have to do that argument. The fact there's literal empirical evidence that taking the exact source material and turning it into something we want to watch will give you sales. And it's literally what happens with anime. If you read the manga to an anime, they are carbon copies. And that's because that market knows what their viewers want. They want what is in the manga, so they're turning it into an anime. So why can't we do that with a superhero movie?
Because they're 2 distinctly different groups.
They're not 2 distinctly groups. Yes, you have the people who love anime, you have the people who love comics. But here's the kicker: we've never even tried it with comics.
That's the thing. Is that they have in as much as they've started to adapt, but even when they change it, like, people's most or least favorite Iron Man movie is Iron Man 2, which is like a really, really like cross-eyed, blurred-visioned interpretation of Demon in a Bottle.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only one they've actually like deliberately kind of almost done, and they did it wrong.
Well, okay, I'd support that argument, but I'd say like Game of Thrones is a good example. Like season 1, book 1 are almost line in line.
Yeah.
Almost exactly.
And look at how successful it is.
Look at Harry Potter, like when he needs material, people get freaking.
But at the same time, the issue with that though is that you also have the fact you have 20 episodes that you can do that with, like a Superman storyline from a comic book, based on New 52 or even before the New 52 at any point in time after Crisis on Infinite Earths, because nobody cares about 1950 Superman, and then like adapt that to a movie with a 2.5-hour time constraint.
So maybe in general,
that have never been developed before.
Maybe in general, what we need to be doing is doing more direct graphic novels that are only 2 to 3 issues and fit the format of a movie better.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the issue is you're using characters that haven't been developed. I mean, all you have is what people's idea of them. I guarantee you, people who are going to go see the Jason Momoa Aquaman are going to expect him to talk to fish. Like, what is he going to talk to fish? I want to hear him talk to fish, because Aquaman talks to fish. We know that's not true, and you know that's not true, and most people in this chat know that's not true. Everybody watching knows that's not true, but the general idea is Aquaman talks to fish. Why? Because in the 1960s and 70s, they made a show where he talked to fish, and it's just stuck ever since.
Shadow
and it casts a huge shadow, but that's
because they did it improperly, even back in the 60s.
Yeah,
it just goes back to we've never done them properly.
The issue now is what do you? I mean, honestly, like, to be honest, they got to go the Marvel MCU or the Marvel Cinematic Universe route and just do origins, just make movie origins for however long. But the issue is, with Superman, it's a timeless origin, so we know what it is. It's not like people don't know. With Iron Man, it was kind of like, well, I'm curious what they're going to do, how they're going to adapt it to the modern day. Well, you can't use Vietnam, you got to use the Middle East. Okay, that makes sense. Superman hails from Krypton in space. Like, the planet blows up, he gets shipped here. That's the story. Like, you know, the first time you see it once, you see it 1,000,000 times. So how do you do that?
You do it by acknowledging it. It's the same thing with Spider-Man. I've always pitched the idea that, like, you never tell Spider-Man's origin, or if you do it in the opening credits with, like, pictures and images, because, like, everybody knows it. With Superman, it's even more fundamental.
They did that with Batman.
They did it with All-Star Superman. It opens up. It says like doomed planet, kindly couple, Superman. Like that's it. Like that's all you need. Last hope.
See, that's a really good example. Grant Morrison's All-Star Superman. Now, I would watch that.
You can't do that. They did it as an animated movie, and it was weird, and it was like. That's an anthology. You want to see All-Star Superman? You make that into a Netflix original series or like a HBO
that's a good point.
series. If you want to make a movie about Superman and you don't want to do where you open the first 20 minutes are about Jonathan and Martha and they find this kid and then he meets but if you need to set a foundation, you do like an adaptation that works. Birthright, Secret Identity, or if you want to do a story about Superman and you're like, I don't know, I farmed all the material and I'm afraid, you do something that the people love that works. That's like either a distillation of all the Superman stories into one, like for all seasons, or you do.
What's so funny about Truth, Justice, and the American Way?
That's an easy one to do. I mean, like,
or you know what the fact of the matter is, if you can't adapt your comic book, you write a unique story. Stop trying to be like, no, that's not what they're doing. What they're doing is they're going, you know what, I really like Dark Knight where Superman and Batman fought, so we're going to take that sequence. And I really like Apocalypse, so we're going to take this sequence out of this comic book. And I really want to have an idea of the Cadmus situation where they're looking for metahumans to fight against them. So we're going to take that idea and we're going to put it over here. And they're cobbling this like jigsaw puzzle of a movie together.
Frankenstein monster,
right, and that's where part of the problem comes into.
That becomes
a mess. That becomes a mess because you're using images that are contingent on story. Yeah. Like the reason why we'll never.
At times his breakups so perfect. The reason why we will never.
I agree with that statement though, Sal, because like the reason why the battle between Batman and Superman was so relevant, and the reason why it mattered is because over the course of the Dark Knight, it led up like Batman's basically just too old. Like Bruce Wayne is he's just too old to really do this. Like he's having a hard time keeping up. Plus it was the struggle of you got the Joker, but at the same time you had the build up where it was like Batman was the only person that could civilize a city in an otherwise uncivilized world, and it made the government look bad. Hence the premise why he and Superman fought in the first place. So like that, I agree. It's kind of based on stories. I say origins. Like you got to go with origins. But the problem is, or I guess not really the problem. The great thing about this is DC is character-based story arcs. So you wouldn't think it would be that hard. Like you wouldn't think it would be that difficult. Like if I were Ben Affleck and I were writing Batman movies, Court of Owls, Night of Owls.
You know what the funny part is too.
I mean, you got so many great stories to do.
The funny part is that Marvel in comics is all about the big epic, the universe changing, everything going crazy. We all have to fight. But when it comes to their movies, they're very character driven. Things like Winter Soldier and Civil War, instead of being these gigantic overarching things, they're like, what did Cap do in that? Let's just bring the Cap side down. And that's what their movies are. And on the vice versa, DC comics are very character driven. They're very much about the heroes you love, and they do very short stories about these characters. But when it comes to the movie, they're like, how much can we put into this? How epic can we make it? Batman v Superman could have been a great movie, but instead they're like, we want Wonder Woman, we want Aquaman, we want the Flash to cameo in, we want Apocalypse to be referenced.
Well, the problem is, with Batman v Superman, they weren't trying to make a movie. They were trying to rush their franchise because they were like, we need to build this thing. And did you hear that Marvel's finally making a female-driven superhero movie? We can't let her beat us to Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
because we'll look stupid.
Which is actually a legitimate argument. The problem, but see, okay, and guys in the chat, answer this. Tell me this. I'd rather have a movie that takes forever to come out and is good than to have a movie that comes out like that and sucks.
That's fair.
Well, yeah. But the worst of it is where you take too long and you lose sight of your vision, and then you make something like No Man's Sky, where it's like, that wasn't.
Wait, have you played No Man's Sky? Oh, never. That's a different discussion for another day.
You know what I would call that, Sal? That's the Axl Rose Chinese democracy problem. Is what that is. I'm making my masterpiece. You'll all love it, even if it takes me 20 years.
Or Boyhood. It took 12 years to make.
It sure did.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think now this whole discussion is good. It's why I haven't put a stop to it at all. We've been talking about this now for like 30 minutes. But I think at this point we're just kind of rounding circles unless somebody has something new to add to it. Because we're not making the movies, so we're not going to be able to affect the movies in general. This is just more of our opinions as to what would make good movies based upon an appearance from Deathstroke.
Hey, public opinion changes the world. My final thoughts on this, I think right now, Deathstroke is a great villain for a Teen Titans movie, at some point in the future. Deathstroke needs to be included in a Batman movie so they can literally say, this is who Deathstroke is, and get away with it in a Batman movie, create that character, so the public will be like, wow, this Deathstroke character is really cool, because hopefully he'll be written well, and then that's the Deathstroke that we'll see in a Teen Titans movie later on. That's the beauty of having Batman and Superman. Like, people are going to go see a Batman and Superman movie no matter what. I don't care what the reviews were, I don't care what happened with Batman versus Superman. When Ben Affleck movie comes out, people are just rush to the theaters to see the Ben Affleck.
Well, the fact of the matter is, I mean, even Batman v Superman, as bad as it got panned, as much as you can say, oh, the extent is better, this is better, it made money. Lots of money.
But it didn't make as much as they expected.
As they wanted.
And that's the thing, is that like you look at movies where it's like, why didn't that make money? Look at the Spider-Man franchise and how every time they got greedier and they got more and more covetous of what they lost sight of what they were doing. Sam Raimi makes a fun Spider-Man movie, right? And then he's like, oh, they tripled my budget. I'm gonna make an even better looking, intimate story about this man-child in this.
And we have a dance sequence, no.
No, that's 3. But 3 is when Avi Arad and the Sony influence, and they're like, well, I know that you want to tell a story about Sandman, which already, by the way, is stupid. But like, okay, you want to tell a story about Sandman, but like, can we put Venom in there? And can we get like
the real villains?
Like, they start putting in all these things where it's not about the movie anymore. It's about action figures and it's about franchises. And then when they made Amazing Spider-Man, they're like, okay, let's reboot it. But you got to have all these things that we
make
don't know.
It for dirt cheap, but we'll lose track of that by the second one and pump millions of dollars.
But even though they did that, the movie still made less than projections. Every time that you diminish your product, you will get diminishing returns. Like, the fact is, people will go see a Batman movie. But if there are 3 bad Batman movies in a row, like, oh, I don't know, Batman Returns Batman Returns is cool and bold, even though it's ludicrous.
Oh God,
but
it's not that ludicrous.
Penguins with rocket launchers.
It was Batman and Robin was the last one, wasn't it?
So
I forgot about Penguins with rocket launchers.
So you got that? I mean, like,
fucking dope.
Also, like, Penguin is like a literal penguin man who has black blood. It doesn't matter. The point being,
Pee Wee Herman is his dad.
But Batman Returns made less than they projected, and when they made Batman Forever, it spiked because it was like flashy and action figure oriented. But then, like, the reviews were horrible. Then Batman and Robin comes out and it's garbage, and everyone was sick of it. And they didn't make a Batman movie for, like, what, 20 years? 15 years?
Something like that.
Yeah, we got that
I'm sorry. It was more like 10, 15 years. But it was still, like, it got to the point where Hollywood said, superhero movies don't make money. Look at Batman and Robin. Like, they don't make money. And it's like, they what are you talking about? Look at the money they made. They literally turned a profit. Well, yeah, but I put in $100 million in the marketing budget. Like, it made enough money on paper, but not in my bank account, because I spent money on this movie, but then I spent money over here on the movie, and money over here on the movie, and all of a sudden the movie doesn't turn a profit, even if it made $500 million. Like, that's what's frustrating. Like, that's what's frustrating about it.
In fact, my final thoughts on the Deathstroke thing is, I don't care what they do, how cool they make them look, because I get a feeling they're going to try to turn him into the DC Punisher. You have to write Slade well, because what makes Slade a good villain is the monologuing, the way he can get into your head, the way he can mess with you that way. It's not Slade is badass and can flip around and blow people. No, it's because Slade will talk you to death before even pulling the gun out. You know?
Yes,
Slade should be really cool.
That's the huge difference. Is like Punisher has great moments, like during the whatchamacallit, during the God, who wrote Punisher Max?
I'm actually going to do Welcome Back, Frank.
During the Garth Ennis run, and he goes in and he shoots up the mob boss's house, and he's walking out, and he's like 3 seconds to realize what happened, and then like 2 seconds to get their guns, and then like 4 seconds to get outside, and he just turns around and sprays them all down with M60s. Those are great, like, little monologues, or he's like, what is it? Welcome Back, Frank. He was like, the angels took me to heaven. They wanted me to see what else, or whatever it is. Like, that's a great monologue.
Well, that's the problem with Punisher movies, though. They boiled it down to Punisher must be cool because he shoots people. Not all the epicness around it.
And sometimes I want to get my hands on God. That's my favorite.
These guys would be great at making Ghost Rider movies, because it's like, all you need to do...
images,
all you need to do is make them on fire for the whole movie.
Yeah. No, Blade saved comic book movies. Dude, no, comic book movies were stupid, and then Blade came out in like 1997 or whatever it was. And it was amazing.
1999, I think, but like, Blade was amazing. I remember seeing it in the theaters and being like, this was good.
Well, the reason why it was good is because Wesley Snipes at the time just liked the character Blade and wanted to make a good Blade movie. That was what it was.
The dude
It was
wanted
the
to make a
Deadpool
Black
of its
Panther
day.
movie forever. The dude, like Wesley Snipes had been gunning for a Black Panther movie forever, but they were like, "That's not a movie. Like, we can't make that." And at the time, they might have been right. Who knows? But like, then they were like, "He's like, all right, well then I'll do Blade because I like Blade too." And they make Blade, and it was a movie in which they got the genre and they got the character and they executed it perfectly and it made its money back. I think X-Men's the movie where they were like, oh, because people look at X-Men now and they're like, how silly, but like X-Men's movie I think that saved superhero movies because it was like you open your X-Men movie in Auschwitz and you executed it well.
Yeah.
Oh no, I mean X-Men did well, but see, to me, I thought Blade saved it because it was a movie industry coming along and saying, "Hey guys, look how we can take this character, that's been relevant for like this stretch of 3 years, and like look, we can make a great movie out of him," and they did. Like that, I think is what's because the X-Men are the X-Men. Like it's Marvel's Batman, Superman, Justice League, Wonder Woman. It's like one of Marvel's just big names. Everybody knows about the X-Men.
Triple X.
Yes.
Yeah, and so it's like if they make an X-Men movie, people will go see it. Blade was a gamble. Blade was like, well, I mean, let's just see what happens, and it did. That's why I said it saved it because if you can make Blade do well, you can make anything do well.
Well,
the problem is where you put the money and where you put the writing behind it.
Do you remember seeing X-Men in the theater? Because like, there's a thing about what you said about how anyone will go see an X-Men movie. I don't think that's true. Because I remember when they were advertising it, I remember going to the theater. First of all, I saw no press for X-Men, but secondly, when I went to go to the movies and I saw it said X-Men and they had a CG lineup of the characters from the 90s as the image on the placard. Like so it was an X-Men and then it was like blue yellow strap Cyclops, like yellow spandex Wolverine, big blue furry Beast, like Storm and big white outfit, and I go,
nice.
Is this what the movie's gonna be? And I'm like, this is gonna be a goddamn shit show. Let's go.
Let's go. I gotta see what they're gonna do.
And then we go and it opens in Auschwitz, and I go, what?
Yeah.
What a whiplash! What a swerve!
And it was awesome. And I'm like, wow, they really knew what they were doing. And it was like, yeah, give it to Bryan Singer. Back then, dude knew what he was doing. He made 3 great movies.
Yeah, he wasn't crazy as shit.
So, all right. So, what are your final thoughts on the Deathstroke thing? So we can hit these other topics before we're completely out of time.
Yeah, right. Sorry. It's good. It looks cool. I hope that they focus on Deathstroke and make him cool. I love Rob's idea of just like introduce him in the Batman movie, make him really cool, and then use him. Like he could easily be like a carryover character. Like he shows up in all kinds of movies.
Yeah.
Put him ever.
No, well, and that's just it because he always has cameos from all the other superheroes anyway.
Yeah.
Like I was reading an issue where he went to go fight Lobo. He fought Lobo. Like what the hell is?
It's impressive.
They haven't even cast an actor yet, so we're really early in this. I think it must have just been a costume test that we saw.
What are your last thoughts on it, Joel?
I mean, could go either way at this point. I like Deathstroke. I'd like to see him in a movie. I like the costume. That's about it.
All right. Well, that brings us to our next topic, Thor Civil War comedy short, which I just watched, and you guys all watched with me before this.
Yeah.
It was amazing. My only complaint about it is, do we really think that is like in canon? Because like all the other shorts felt like they were in the universe. They were there. This one, Thor acts really out of character from what we've seen.
He actually has a personality in his shorts.
He's just funnier Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, exactly.
It's I mean it's good stuff. Apparently this was like a Comic-Con exclusive that they just released just now for everyone to see.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
nice.
Do you think it's valid though? Do you think Team Thor is a thing? Do you think a joke of him, living in Australia for a year?
I think it's.
What would you do if in Thor Ragnarok they started up and Bruce Banner comes over and he's like, "Hey Thor, haven't seen you since we met up in Australia," and you're just like, "That happened."
You thought it was an imaginary tale, but it wasn't. I really appreciated his string theory board, where it's like, "Yeah, I'm looking into the gems, man. I'm looking into Thanos. He doesn't like to stand."
Yeah.
Like, who's this purple man sitting here?
I love when he says, "Who is this character?" Vision. Surprised you knew that.
Plus, like, the other funny thing is, it's just like these really shitty drawings.
Look, Mjolnir wearing sunglasses, and what's he holding? Me.
Oh, what was the thing? It was the dude's name was like David or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Daryl?
Yeah, Daryl.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like it's like stay out, Daryl.
Darkwing says he says two things. Hulk went to space, and Thor. How does Thor know about Thanos, making it not canon? Half of your statement is true. Thor's not in space in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I mean, like he got into a terrestrial aircraft.
Right, he got into an aircraft. He didn't go to space though.
Space from that.
No, he's going to be in Ragnarok, so it's not like he's just floating in space and got to come back. The whole thing was no one knows where he is. Right. So he could So I really doubt. I mean, if you want to play that, I really doubt Tony Stark just has him on speed dial. No one knows who the Hulk is until we need him. Hey, buddy, where you at?
You know, he stows away on the next NASA flight. Is what he does, just hiding in some boxes.
We were talking about Planet Hulk in our episode of Back Issues about Planet Hulk, where they were like, "So are they going to do Planet Hulk in this movie?" And I'm like, "Well, they showed the armor and stuff, so I guess." And they're like, "How did he get there?" And Ben had an amazing suggestion, which I did not expect, and it was just like, what if they use the pockets of wormholes from Thor: The Dark World?
Ooh.
And Hulk just like flew through one, or Banner got grabbed through one. I'm like, because they've established earthbound wormhole teleportation technology that takes you to the 9 realms. I'm like,
true.
That's a good point. And it would
actually
nice
carryover.
It'd be a great way to make people go like, oh yeah, Thor: The Dark World was a movie.
Well, I think honestly what's going to happen is the Planet Hulk stuff that we've seen isn't actually going to be Planet Hulk. I think it's going to be like other Marvel Cinematic Universe where they're taking elements you liked and it's going to pop up. And what's going to happen is Thor's going to help him Hulk's going to help him in Ragnarok, and Thor's going to be like, "Here's some armor for you, my friend." You know, and that's going to be it.
I can live with that. That's fine.
Yeah, no, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, see, I never understood the whole thing of we need to have Planet. Look, guys, Planet Hulk was kind of a cool story, but it was only cool because it led into World War Hulk. So, like, that's how that is. And as soon as they announced that Hulk was going to be wearing gladiator armor, I'm down with that. Now, that said, I really want to see Worldbreaker Hulk. I want to see Banner. Like, I want to see some event take place or something happen, where, like, Betty Ross dies, and Hulk's like, what? Betty Ross is dead because she fell down an elevator shaft. And then he just loses his shit and just starts attacking, like, everybody. Just loses his mind, and it's just World War Hulk. Like, that's what I want to hear.
I just want to clarify something for everyone in here. And if you guys disagree with me, you can. Because right now they're having a debate in the chat about deleted scenes from Age of Ultron and how that adds to the lore. People need to understand, if a scene's deleted, it's not canon anymore. Now that's different from What's that?
Unless they make like an extended version.
Right. Now if it comes back in an extended and it's in the movie, that's one thing. But if it remains a deleted scene, it remains deleted. It's not canon, it's not valid, it's something that maybe they thought they were going to do and has been pulled out. The same argument applies to because I hate people saying this, writers to the comic books. If the writer says it might be a cool idea and it might be something he wants to do, but if it doesn't get put in print in the comic, it's not valid.
It's speculation. It's
canon. Because and the biggest argument I get on a lot of people is somebody was like, I got into an argument with one of the fans a while back where they're like, Deadpool is transgendered, he's willing to sleep with anything, and I'm like, well, all of us fans believe that.
Omnisexual is
omnisexual, yeah. But I'm like, while most of us fans believe that because of the way he acts, that's never been printed.
No,
the writer said it once, just like what we had a writer state. The ending of Killing Joke was Batman killing Joker. It's not in print. That does not mean it's not canon. You can't.
It wasn't even the writer.
Yeah,
like Alan Moore was just
a writer.
Well, I wasn't even going to go into that argument. That's an argument about another thing. But what I'm stating is, a writer stating something that's not in print does not make it canon. A deleted scene is not canon. So,
exactly. Did you hear that they were going to make that they were toying with the idea of making General Ross or Secretary Ross into the Red Hulk?
I'm down with that.
I believe it.
They were talking about how they were like back when they were like, well, we're not going to get Spider-Man or we're not going to do anything with Black Panther. They're like, maybe we should make General Ross into Red Hulk. And I'm like, that would have been cool.
There's still time. He still exists in the universe.
There's still time. Make William Hurt into the Red Hulk.
Could you imagine that?
I'd be down.
And it could work no matter how old he gets because. UCG.
Absolutely. He just does the voice. He sits in a booth.
And they'll make the face kind of look like his face. They'll scan it so it'll be a William Hurdy red Hulk face.
Yeah.
Well, see, here was a funny thing, because I was having this discussion with the guy at the comic book store with my comic guy, and he was like, well, he's like, the problem with having a red Hulk is you would have to include the intelligentsia, but you wouldn't, because in Age of Ultron, you had the intelligentsia, which initiated the whole thing when they woke him up. But they didn't have him in that movie. It was just, well, the movie was all right. Anyway, they didn't have him in there, so you don't really need him here. Now, having said that, it would be cool to see, just like a conglomeration of the world's smartest villains. The problem is that at that point, you got to get into the Fantastic Four and stuff like that, which they don't have.
You also have to have more than 3 villains alive.
That's true.
Well, they have a prison now, so they can finally start putting them in prison.
Yeah, you got Zemo and Sam Rockwell.
Yeah.
All right. Some guys from S.H.I.E.L.D. I think you have like Gravitron, who they never used again. He's out there somewhere.
Yeah, he's out there somewhere. Okay, well, let's move on to the next topic then, because now we're really just not staying on topic at all today.
The show's going off the rails, man.
This is not an unreal show. You bring back the original cast, and we're like, what's an outline? All right, so we have Lyman leaving the Gambit movie for the Justice League Dark movie.
Okay, What does that say? What does that say about Fox's Gambit? What does that tell you about Fox's Gambit? The guy directing it, Doug Liman, the guy directing. Yeah, the second guy is like, you know what? I'm out. Peace. I'm gonna go direct a movie. It's animated. Not even the Justice League. Not even the main Justice League. It's literally about like just the crazy side of DC.
Movie
just the weird.
Well, no, I will say this, because if you follow Justice League Dark, then you know that the Justice League really wasn't in there. They've put Batman in this movie. Batman is on Justice League Dark.
They put Batman on Justice League. They put
every clip that they've shown
in the animated movie.
Yeah, in the animated movie, Batman is in everything. So whether or not that's like the first 10 minutes, we don't know. But
that makes, dude, I got to tell you, man, like
of all the Justice League members, Batman would make the most sense to go team up with Deadman, Zatanna, and all them. You know?
It would, but like this because this whole Gambit situation reminds me of how like. You have a favorite like restaurant that you go and eat at, and one day the food stops being as good as it was, and so you're like, okay, you know what, I'm not really going to go eat there that much anymore. Then you find out the restaurant got shut down. It's under new management. Okay, cool, under new management. Then it gets shut down again, and it's under new management. And it's like, you know what, it's time to just give up. It's time to stop. It's time to let this restaurant shut down.
When will Fox admit that maybe no one wants a Gambit movie?
No, like Gambit was cool in the X-Men Origins Wolverine thing for the short time that he was there, and he was like one of the only 3 good things that was good in that movie. But I'll tell you guys right now, I am not going to go to a theater and watch a movie about Gambit.
Well, the kicker with Gambit is he's such a bad character now that we're out of the 90s, and Rob's camera's gone. He's such a bad character. I mean, I get, for the record, I like Gambit, I do, but I like 90s. Cool. Right, but the thing is, he never really got a crap ton of development, and he's so underdeveloped that when they tried to launch a Gambit-centric book, didn't work. And now he's been regulated to cameo character. Like, he's not even on an active team.
I mean,
Gambit is a great supporting character.
The Gambit thing reminds me so much of Sony's insistence on a Venom movie.
Yeah.
To the point where they're like, okay, we're going to do a Venom movie. And then they were like, okay, we can't use Spider-Man in it anymore. You know what? We don't even need Spider-Man connected with Venom. We're just going to make Venom. And then they're like, okay, well, we got to get Carnage in there. But they just get further and further away from like any semblance of a movie that anyone will ever see.
Right.
Or would even be a Venom movie at this point. Gambit's the same thing where they're like, we're going to make you know what, we're going to do a Wolverine movie. We're going to do 2 of them, and people are not going to like either of them. And then we're going to make a Magneto movie, and then we're going to turn that into an X-Men movie instead. And you know what, we're going to do a Gambit movie. Gambit's going to be a movie. And then people were like, oh? And they were like, yeah, it's going to be awesome. And then it gets further and further away where it's like, is it even going to be in continuity? Where does Gambit fit in?
We don't know.
Who cares?
Should we make it funny like Deadpool? People like Deadpool because it was funny. Should Gambit be funny now, too?
Yeah, it's just so weird.
Should Gambit be R-rated? We don't know.
I get
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I get that they would try and save face by saying there's going to be a Gambit movie, even though they're obviously never going to make one. But I really, really think they are going to try and make a Gambit movie.
I could see it happening and bombing horribly.
It is going to bomb. You guys want to know why? Here's why it's going to bomb horribly. I dare anybody in the chat to correct me if I'm wrong. If I say Gambit, the first thing that comes to your mind is X-Men the Animated Series. The first thing that comes to anybody that ever watched that show.
No one knows anything past that. That was the point I was making about Gambit.
That's exactly it. No one knows any, like, people are just like, hey, okay, if I told you that Gambit is actually like 50 or 60 times more powerful than you've seen in the comics, but his powers were reduced when he went into surgery under Mr. Sinister, most people wouldn't know that. They would be like, really? Like, yeah, Gambit had the power to blow up the world, but his power set was reduced when he was exposed to Mr. Sinister and then became part of the Marauders. If I sit down and I say, hey, guys, Gambit was part of the mutant massacre, but bailed out once he realized what it was that the Marauders were doing, unless you are a hardcore comic fan, and unless you know the history, like the full tried and true history of the X-Men, you're not going to know that. So most people
also
are
got
like
a weird head mask thing.
Yeah, so most people are just like, yeah, but yeah, he was the guy that like kept trying to bang Rogue, right? Like in the animated cartoon show, and that's all they know. That's all they know.
No, I will say this though: Deadpool versus Gambit is actually really good.
Oh, dude, it's amazing. It's amazing.
There's been so much character development for Gambit in that book that I'm like, I didn't know this shit. Like his biggest fear is touching someone and they blow up and things. I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah, dude, I am hyped for that story to end because I'm gonna do like a rundown episode on that and be like, so there's a story called Gambit or Deadpool versus Gambit, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing. It's really good. Gambit can be a good character, just I don't think he ever gets done properly. But that brings us over because
for a Gambit thing, but it wouldn't be an X-Men movie. It would just be like make an Ocean's 11 style heist movie set in New Orleans with the Thieves Guild with Gambit about a bunch of superpowered thieves. But then it wouldn't be an X-Men movie, would it?
But see, that's the problem. See,
you just have Wolverine cameo.
That's how people. That's how companies look at it. Well, Gambit's a superhero, and he can blow stuff up by touching it. So we need to have him blow stuff up by touching it. No, people want to see a movie that's good. They want to see a movie with a good plot. Let me tell you something. If you took Gambit and you did that, you went back home to New Orleans and you had the thieves and you had the assassins and you expanded on the because then you got the what was it, the externals or whatever that thing is, the Eternals. You've got like that whole mythos that gets tied into it. Like you could do so much with the Gambit mythology. Yeah. They've already teased Essex Corp, so then you bring Gambit in, and you're just like, in the first 10 minutes, he was part of the mutant massacre under the control of Nathaniel Essex, also known as Mr. Sinister, and then you cut out of that, and you jump. I mean, there's so many things you could do to tie into that, but here's the problem. Gambit was super popular in the 1990s. Because of X-Men, the animated series. The 1990s ended, we got into the 2000s, and Gambit vanished. He was part of Extreme X-Men for a while, where he just kind of traveled around the world with Storm, whatever. And then after that, it was just Gambit just fell off because no one cared, because he was part of an age that nobody cared about anymore. Yep. And he was part of an age of comics that just didn't exist anymore. So Gambit's a great character. I love the character. I love the mythos. I love the assassins. I love the thieves. I think he's charismatic if he's written correctly, but he's part of an archaic age that doesn't matter anymore.
Yes. My favorite modern Gambit is Uncanny X Factor, and no one remembers that book.
I don't remember that. Yeah, Uncanny X Factor.
All right, before we go on to the next topic, though, because we do have to keep moving because we're getting tight on time here. I do need to because we've been getting questions about it, Rob. Now that you're moving your hands around, Rob, you're married to the Star Wars franchise again.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Okay.
I want to tell the story. So we're down in Disney World, and Rob is wearing that Star Wars ring on his left ring finger. And the whole time, we do a couple things, and he's like, "Why does everyone assume I'm married? Everyone thinks I'm married. They're all making comments about it." And I'm like, "Rob, you're wearing that Star Wars ring on your wedding ring finger." And he's like, "Wait, I am?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's the left finger." And he's like, "Wait, what?" So he didn't know what was the wedding ring. So if you ever have problems, I'd have told him, like, if you ever have problems picking up women, it might be because they think you're married.
Yeah.
That being said, it was a beautiful service between Rob and Star Wars. There was flowers and lightsabers. It was great.
We pinned medals on people.
The cake was so delicious. We had blue milk.
You need to at least put it on your middle finger if you're gonna go your left hand. That way, it's not on your ring finger.
That is a good point.
He's moving it right now.
Moving it right now.
I'm moving it right now.
On my middle finger.
Great television right here.
It doesn't look good. I'm going to put it on my pinky.
Put it on your right ring finger.
Yeah, which is what I told him, but he didn't want to do it.
Well, I didn't think about it.
So now you can be the Star Wars pimp. Kiss the ring, son.
All right, so anyway, Ironheart is also the name of a Japanese Iron Man porn parody. What did you put here, Joel?
Okay, so Riri Williams, I don't think you were here for this one, Benny, but Riri Williams, when she takes over the Iron Man mantle, her new name is going to be Ironheart. Well, we found out a little while ago that Ironheart is also the name of a Japanese Iron Man porn parody. So, no, Bendis didn't Google this when he came up with the name.
I mean, that's all we got on it, right? Like it's just the porn parody.
It's amazing. I was sure to research the movie just for the show. It's
Good idea.
Yeah.
It's something. I'll tell you
this up.
what.
I mean, I'm not going to watch it right
No,
now.
I am.
but
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah.
Do you love mosaics? Because there's a lot of mosaics going on in that.
Okay, just first off, if you Google image Ironheart porn, the first image you get is a full-on nude woman's vagina. So, but here's the movie, and that is hilarious.
So do this at home, kids, is what we're saying.
No, don't do this at home.
Do it at school. School's almost back. Definitely.
Wow. That's actually that's a weird looking Iron Man.
Isn't it? Yeah. But it's funny
got a
because that
sword.
Iron Man costume, brave it if you want, but that Iron Man costume looks very close to the current Iron Man costume.
A little bit.
Just throwing it
And
out
apparently
there.
it was made a while ago, too, so it's funny how all the planets are aligning on this.
Maybe do it with
It's
Save
like
Search
Bendis
on.
did
I
that.
don't know. Try that if you want to see the costume, but I'm not putting it on the stream. That's for sure.
Yeah, you're right, Rob. Maybe Bendis
Maybe.
did know. Maybe Bendis is a huge fan.
Maybe like Marvel was they're like, Bendis, you got to start doing what we want you to do now. You can't do what you want to do. He's like, well, you know what? Fine, fuck you guys. I'm gonna name Riri Williams after a porn parody. How about
And you'll never know it.
You'll never know.
All right, so
That was-
I can comment on this one. I know this one. DC announced an 8-hour live stream for September for the DC All Access 1 million subscriber thing.
Yep.
The funniest part is they're doing it on a school day, and they're going to play video games the whole day.
Ooh, what?
That's what they're doing. They're going to play like Batman Arkham and stuff like that. They're not going to discuss comics or anything. They're just going to play video games for 8 hours, and they're doing
They
it
said
on
they
a
were going to
school day.
interview some creators, too.
Yes, they're gonna have special guests. We'll see what happens. I mean,
We'll
like,
see. I mean, I'm just saying from what I saw, and then the comments related to that. So, I mean, if there's more to it, I'm not sure. But what I saw
find
was,
out.
all I saw was the Instagram post of it, and it was DC is going to do this on whatever the day that was. And we're gonna play DC video games all day. And I'm just thinking, so DC is going to become a Let's Play channel, okay? And then the comments
makes money.
were, DC, you're doing this on a school day, and I'm like, ah.
You see, when I saw an 8-hour live stream from DC, I'm like, oh, it's going to be like the Rebirth panel again. They're going to announce some more stuff. Oh, it's the DC All Access channel. Okay, well, that could be fun too, I guess.
Well, here's the worst part of it too. They're gonna start it at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's gonna run until like 5 in the afternoon. And so they'll have like a surge of viewers for the last half hour.
Yes,
And
well,
then
I like Dougley's like, don't diss Jawin. Actually, we're all friends with Jason Inman, and
Yeah.
Sal arranged he's going to be on the show next week.
yeah, we'll be on
So
this next week.
yeah, no, we all know Jason. He's a great guy. DC All Access is a great show. That would be like me going, hey guys, today on Comic Storian, I'm going to play Final Fantasy 14, streaming it on my channel because I just want to.
Well, in celebration of like reaching whatever 1 million subscribers.
Yeah, no, I reached 1 million subs, so I'm going to play
Story
14.
reached 1 million subscribers. Let's all play Mega Man.
Mega Man's cool. Why not?
I mean, Mega Man is cool. Like,
It's
I can't,
cool, but it's totally irrelevant to his brand.
All right, we're not just going to go
For a
listing
million
all.
subscribers. I did what you guys wanted. Now I'm going to do what I want, which is Mega Man.
I'm going to stop you guys asking the questions now. First off, don't have any idea who K-Wing is, but I'm not going to name off all of the YouTubers that we may or may not be friends with.
No, it's true.
It's a long list.
it is a long list.
For popular people, don't you know?
They're like, Jawin, what about K-Wing? I don't know who the hell that is.
Yeah,
Sorry, if you're someone I should know.
floodgates.
I know of him. He also does
I don't.
comic-themed video games.
Oh, so he's
Well, the other half
in
is
your
people are
scene.
gonna start
Got
naming
it.
off their own YouTube channels. Hey, are you guys friends with like the best comic show ever? Which you
Mine.
can find over at this YouTube channel. Here.
What you
I've actually
guys
had a
don't know about YouTube is actually no matter where you're located in the world, you have a teleportation device, and you all teleport every night for a nightly meeting with other YouTubers to one central location.
It's a secret cabal. It's like the light from Young Justice.
Right.
We all get together via hollow screen.
Yeah, exactly. We all get together
guys
via
are-
holo screens, but you have to be over 10,000 subs to get invited to this very exclusive holo screen meeting night.
I'll be there soon.
You guys remember the Illuminati from Marvel Comics? Well, that's
It's just
And,
like
and also, just so you know, if two YouTubers are going to a convention, that does not mean that by default we're going to meet up.
yeah.
Evidently, K-Wing is live right now.
Oh.
It's okay.
Oh, wait, I think I do know K-Wing. Yeah, I think I do know him. Yeah. It's sounding familiar. He's a
K is short
streamer,
for
right?
Night,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Okay, so the next thing on the list then, Cullen Bunn, MU comic teaser. I have no idea what that is. I thought it was an X-Men thing. Someone said, what do you think about it? And I'm like, I don't care either way about the X-Men. I'll read it. And the response was, it's not X-Men.
I was gonna say everyone assumed it was X-Men because Cullen Bunn is writing Uncanny X-Men right now. MU, which people assume to be mutant universe would be keeping in line with that theory before they sent the X-Men to Limbo, that they're going to send them out to space to live on their own planet, away from the Terrigen and also away from all the other Marvel properties right now, so they don't have to continually be like, well, why didn't Wolverine and the X-Men show up? Because they're on another planet, that's why.
Yeah.
I mean,
for the record, I love how everyone's now running with their idea about teleporters in Hollows conferences. they're all like, really? Can you teleport Meg Turney here? Oh, this person's over 10,000 subs. Like, apparently we've now created a whole new thing.
we could, but we only get so many teleporters. It's like Star Trek. We don't want to draw too much power from the
and the kicker is Joel doesn't even have one.
But dumb Tish.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this was like the mutant universe, like an X-Men universe unto itself. Yeah. The question, like the issue with that is, it won't last very long.
Maybe we're just assuming it's MU. Maybe it's actually Ma or Moo.
Yeah,
maybe it's a bunch.
It's actually
of
a book called Moo.
My theory is that it's letters in it's a full word, and that those are just two letters that are next to each other in the.
Oh, you know what it is? Marvel has the rights to Shinmu in comic book form, and we're gonna get Shinmu comics.
Perfect.
Maybe it's Muck. Maybe we're gonna get the CK later.
So basically, what we're getting at is we have no idea.
Yeah.
Which leads us to the next one. It's I don't know since when we started talking about comic book gossip magazines, but Bleeding Cool says more Rebirth titles like Wonder Woman. What?
Could not care less.
The deal is, and again, this is Bleeding Cool, so take it with a grain of salt, but I figure we would all have some stuff to say about this, that because the DC Rebirth schedule being the way it is, they're putting out so many books so often that writers and artists are, getting a little overtaxed, and they don't want that to affect the quality, so they might be going the Wonder Woman route with a couple more books, and that is that every other issue is an alternating story, maybe with a different writer and different art team.
Literally on our last Thursday show, I was complaining about that method because I'm not following it.
It's true, and after reading like Wonder Woman #5, the new one, I'm like, this is good. But man, did the momentum kind of get killed by the flashback episode previously.
See, this is the problem they ran into with DCU, man. This is the problem they have with Justice League versus the regular stories. Like, you had Batman, Jim Gordon Batman, and then you had Bruce Wayne as the God of Knowledge in Justice League. And people were just like which one's which? What's happening with? Like, which one's true?
That was the biggest question.
How does this fall into it throws people off.
And I love when you give them an answer like, well, I think this is how it happens. Well, where's your proof? How do you know that? Like, I don't. They haven't said shit.
Yeah.
Hence the statement. I think this is how it happened.
Yeah. We don't know. And
this is how it happened. But
ridiculous.
So yeah, this could be totally made up, but I just thought it is kind of an interesting premise where it's like, yeah, I can understand you could suffer some creative burnout with the DC schedule going the way it is, which has admittedly been going really, really
well, I mean,
strong.
I've spoken to some writers, and they've had to drop some books they wanted to do because of the DC schedule. Now, I will say this. If we have to pick bi-monthly books, each in a different storyline, or a single monthly book with a single storyline, I'll go the bi-monthly and just purchase them all and read them as I see fit. I would rather go that route than have one per month. I like having, like, a Batman every other week.
Yeah, that's true. But the other issue here, though, is that one, you're a big comic fan, and two, you make your living on it. The kid, like the 12-year-old kid whose mom is taking him shopping at the grocery store and just happens to be next to a comic book store is like, hey, I want to go in and get something. Like, that average person is going to be like, well, this is weird. That's why they stopped the Action Comics, Detective Comics, Batman, Superman dichotomy. Is you had Action Comics one line of stories, and a Detective Comic or in a Superman another line of comics or another line of stories. They just kind of like everything's just crossing over between the two. Like that's why they did that, is because prior to that people were getting confused and they were getting thrown off.
Yeah.
It was like a punishing chore to try to figure out. The only way that works is if you talk about at the beginning of New 52, where you have Action Comics saying this happened back then, and Superman saying this is happening now, and they bridge the gap and eventually meet together. Like, that's the only way that makes sense. Otherwise, you got to do like you did in Superman Truth, where it's just crossing stuff over, and the things that happen outside of the Superman comics take place in, like, Superman, Wonder Woman, and stuff like that. Like, it makes sense that way. But unless you're doing something like that, it's like that having two different stories going at the same time, I think is going to confuse people. Now, I could be wrong, but I'd be curious to see the sales of Wonder Woman after like 6 or 7 months of doing this, of how long it lasts for.
It's definitely the test bed for. They could continue to do like what Greg Rucka's doing with Wonder Woman, be like, okay, so every odd-numbered issue is the continuation of a new original ongoing story. Every even-numbered issue is us going back and filling in the gaps in that whole 10 years that we said was stolen.
Yeah.
But see, like my question is, then why do that? Why not just release 2 different stories?
Yeah.
Just say like Wonder Woman Reborn, and just like give you that whole line of stories in that title, and then just have Wonder Woman issue number 1 telling you what's going on right now. Because Wonder Woman Reborn is like, okay, well, this tells me who Wonder Woman was before, or it gives me her new origin, or the new origin of Wonder Woman, something to indicate that people know what's going on, as opposed to say, hey guys, you got to hop and you got to skip and you got to jump and you got to cross under this stick and you got to walk around this tree and you got to climb this mountain in order to understand, what's going on with the Wonder Woman comic.
I wonder in the trades how they're even going to put Wonder Woman together. Do you get all the issues of the even-numbered stories, then the backup stories are the flashbacks? I wonder.
For the record,
Honestly,
all that weird
I
noise
think
you guys may have heard on the stream is from comicbook.com. God damn, they slam you with 1,000 ads.
Oh, they do. That's why I'm so glad I have ad block on that. I just block elements. But no, see, in all honesty, if I were them, I'd make them backups. I'd make up 2 separate stories. You have what's going on now, then you just provide the origin, or you give them the origin first, and then you tell them what's going on now. But I don't know how you do that.
It's an interesting idea, and we will see. Like again, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Rob. Let's look at the sales of Wonder Woman 6 months from now and see if it if it succeeded or floundered because of its very unique way of telling stories.
Yes.
All right, so the last topic we're going to talk about is one that... Oh, we got a sub. Oh, 4 months in a row. Dijon Dylan, thank you so much, Rob.
Splooge.
4 splooges.
Splooge.
All right, so I'm just going to throw Joel under the bus here. You didn't manage to pull up this piece of content. So the Valiant has officially announced as of today their web series for Ninjak.
Oh, yes, with the Bat and the Sun guys.
Yeah, okay, now, I haven't read the article, and I will go ahead and say right now, I know everything they're doing.
You do, Benny.
So I don't know what I can say.
Benny's just got to tiptoe around this shit.
And you could say like that Ninjak is in it.
I have photos on my phone that you can't see that look amazing.
He's not talking about dick pics. He's talking about...
Whoa. What was that? Oh, we got a donation of $20 from Wretched Egg 34.
Thank you, man.
And his statement is, I love ComicPOP.
Nice. Thank you.
Wow.
That's really sweet of you. We really
Thanks a
appreciate
lot.
it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We like him too.
And we know that was a legitimate one because we didn't see a notification. It was just you got one.
Well, what threw me off was I got the weird thing the noise in my ear.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
Not like that one Jagoff who got our hopes up.
Yeah. That's a real one. That's what a real one does. So,
It's a legitimate one. Yeah. Thank you, man.
All right, so and the little thing should update in a minute with it because it does that every so often. But anyway, let me just say, have you guys read the article?
No.
Yes, I have.
Okay.
No, but I read all the tweets because it like blew up.
Okay, right. So
yeah.
all I can say is this without giving away anything because it's not my place to give away. Valiant has a bunch of exclusivity release deals with like comicbook.com and Bleeding Cool, and they all have set times when they can release things. So me knowing things means I can't give it away. But I will say, you guys are going to be just amazed. That shit is amazing looking.
It makes sense to do it with Ninjak because it's like, hey, here's a cool hero who's a ninja who we can do on a budget with a team that clearly knows what they're doing from their superhero fan film stuff. They have a lot of goodwill, within the fan community. It's a smart idea because I don't think anyone's ever really tried to do like a wholly connected, wholly legitimized superhero.
I gotta say this. Like, we got another donation. And here's the funny thing. So our last donation was from Comic Gamer. He was the guy that says from Comic Gamer. Then we had Wretched Egg for ComicPOP for $20. So Comic Gamer redonated to get his name back on the top of the list. $5 for Joel.
Don't worry, that money will be put to good use. I'll put that towards the New York trip.
Yeah.
We're going to have to start a GoFundMe for Joel. God damn it. All right, anyway.
Actually, here's the thing. I've set up a PayPal tip jar. Fans have actually been pretty generous, my fans, and I've actually made some money off that. So thank you, everyone who gave
Awesome.
like 5 people.
Nice.
I've already put some money into it. And I'm actually going to do a stream as we get closer to October. I'm actually going to
We'll help you out with it if need be. We're gonna. I'm still trying to get all the Anyway, back to the topic on hand. You were saying. Anyway, I mean, it looks amazing. I don't know how much, because I know everyone here has some insider information on this. and which makes it makes it very difficult for us to discuss. All we can really do, because the fact is, I don't know what's been revealed.
Not much. So
and that's what I thought.
Something.
I thought all they revealed was
what we know.
I feel like the only thing they revealed was Ninjak's got a show coming out. Here's who's going to star in it.
Yes.
Okay, so that's all we got.
And we know it's Bat in the Sun, so we know it's going to be like really, really cool looking.
Exactly.
And it's going to like have a lot of, the Bat in the Sun guys are mostly stunt people, so it's going to have a lot of action.
Mm-hmm. Good stunt choreography, good fights.
Well, the only thing I can really say is this is not a impulse thing they're doing. This has been going on for most of the year.
Wow.
So it's really, really well planned. A lot of cool stuff's coming out of it. You guys are going to be super excited, and I will be. Certain things in that element of it will be popping up in the Comic Story channel when we get closer. So don't worry.
What a unique idea to take it right to YouTube. Like you said, Sal, that's Valiant to a T. Thinking outside the box.
Yeah, they're just doing something else. Like, what are they not doing? Boom, let's do it.
Be like, look, we could get a CW show. Or we could do it on YouTube and control all the content ourselves and make it exactly the way we want to make it and deliver it straight to the fan.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing, and it looks amazing, the stuff I've seen. So,
yeah.
And Bat in the Sun's doing a great job with it and everything like that. So, like I said, I can't really. I've got a very biased opinion on it just from what I've seen and what I've. So I just can't talk much about it. So.
We can't talk about it.
Valiant has taken over, aren't they? It's really become this thing. Like they were always the third brand that comic people knew about. It's like, yeah, you got your DC, Marvel, your big two. Yeah, but you hear about Valiant though. Valiant's doing some cool shit. I think give it a while, and I think more people will know the name Valiant. I think.
Real quick, we now have a donation war. Wretched Egg has donated $6. I'm assuming more to ComicPOP, but now he's on top of the.
Thank you.
He's on top of the thing. It'll update in a second.
We need like an auction. Hey, we got $6 here. We got $10 there. We got $1. So sold. Woo.
Donation war.
I don't even know what the official release date is because they were going back and forth on a lot of stuff. Jackson Hero, so I don't even know that. So
yeah.
But that's it. I think that's the end of our show. I believe that's all the
That's
major
true,
topics of this week. We barely talked on any of them and just let Sal rant for like 45 minutes. Worked.
Yeah,
it was a great show. I think it was a good one.
I thought we did good. I thought we made some
Shut up, Joel.
lemonade out of
Anyway.
lemons.
Yeah, there certainly were a lot of them this week.
Yeah.
Yep.
So on that one,
Yeah.
I guess that's it. Let's close out the recording so that we can then get that uploaded and do our little post show, which we haven't done in a very long time. We'll do like 10 minutes. And then we'll close it out. We always know it's a good time to close out when it becomes dark in Rob's room and he's living in a cave. So
No, it's not that dark.
all right, so anyway, guys, if you've been joining us for the first time ever, we do this every Tuesday. There is a follow-up show on Thursdays where we discuss comic books directly. Don't forget, we also stream video games here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday and around the podcast. And we are actually doing that earlier now. We're probably going to be starting those up about 2 p.m. Eastern now to go for 5 or 6 hours, so you can find that all the time. Unless there's been a change, I believe we're bringing back the D&D game next Friday. I don't know if Tiffany can hear me.
No.
She can't hear me?
No, she can hear you, but no, we're not doing it.
Okay, well, me and her were discussing bringing it back, and I just didn't know when we were going to.
That will come back, but we'll discuss when that happens soon.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so it's coming back. We're doing another round. We just have no idea when. That's why I left it with, like, I think. And for the record, we never actually discussed the date. It was just, like, after this last trip. So I was just going, okay, well, the Friday after this last trip, that would be, So anyway, that's coming back real soon. I'm Benny, Comic Storian. I do dramatic readings for comic books. That is Sal from ComicPOP. You can go find great discussions about favorite books. That is Rob from Rob Plays, Rob Explains, and Comics Explained, where he just explains everything. And that is Joel from Caped Joel. What was that?
It's a Steven Universe thing. You don't get it. If you watch the show, you'll get it.
All right, whatever. So this recording's ended. We're going to be over 10 more minutes doing the post show.